Election results. Today, residents of Mobile's District 6 voted on a candidate to take the vacant city council seat, who is now the unofficial District 6 city council member. Remembering Emmett Till.
I found myself trying to temper my anger.
Today would have been Till's 86th birthday, but he had his life stolen from him when he was just a teen. What the White House did today to honor his memory. Economy Watch.
This economy could avoid a recession.
UPS workers and Teamster unions reached a deal, avoiding a strike that could have heavily impacted the economy. What the future of the economy might look like. NBC 15 News at 10 starts now. Residents of District 6 have a new representative tonight. Josh Woods has been elected as the new District 6 representative, replacing Scott Jones, who abruptly resigned from the city council seat in April. We're going to take a look at the results tonight. Woods with a more than 600 votes lead, racking in more than 1,700 votes. Kyle Callahan had more than 1,100 votes. Carla Dupriest had 112. Lynn Hoach with 216. NBC 15's Darwin Singleton was at Josh Woods' victory party tonight. He joins us now live. Darwin, Woods says he's ready to work for the people of his district.
And it was, Kim, a visibly pumped and exuberant Josh Woods, who strolled into Winsel's Oyster House less than about an hour after polls closed. He thanked the room full of enthusiastic supporters, and then I asked the new councilman-elect, this question. What has emerged as the biggest concern for the people of District 6 during his campaign?
So right now in District 6, I'll tell you the number one issue is protection of our neighborhoods, protection of that integrity, keeping development backed up so that our residents don't wake up one morning with a huge commercial development in their backyard. That's something I'm passionate about as far as urban planning, and I can't wait to get started with it.
Woods' election comes at a time when District 6 is sure to expand because of another recent vote, the approval to expand Mobile westward through annexation. Spotting Mayor Stimpson in the audience, I asked him how Woods' concern about rapid commercial growth could play into that plan.
Darwin, one of the things that we said about the annexation, was that zoning helps protect the neighborhoods that you have. And so, yes, you have development. I'll say it needs to be somewhat controlled. And when you have zoning, you can do that. Where there is no zoning, you really can't. So we need more growth, but I think that he's got generally the right idea, that it needs to be in the right sort of way. And so we'll work with him on that. I think we're in a good spot, a real good spot.
One person who knows Josh Woods better than perhaps anybody is his wife, Kristen, who was quick to point out why she thinks her husband will serve District 6 well.
He has 3 small kids. He knows about the issues. He knows what's going on. He pays attention, and he cares so much.
A resounding vote by the people of District 6 shows that they were willing to take us under their wing and allow us to lead them. I'm very excited. I appreciate it. Thank you so much.
And one thing Mr. Woods told me that he plans to do is create a community roundtable where he can schedule meetings with homeowner associations throughout District 6. Kim?
Darwin, thank you. Now, Kyle Callahan was the runner-up to Josh Woods in the race for the District 6 seat with 1,170 votes. NBC 15's Karis Harmon joins us now. Karis, you spoke with Callahan, who seemed to be in good spirits.
Yeah, that's right, Kim. I caught up with him today shortly after the votes were counted, and he's bowing out gracefully tonight. Kyle Callahan announced his candidacy for the District 6 Mobile City Council seat in late April. Callahan, a Mobile native, is a retired law enforcement officer and a retired military reservist. The McGill Tulane and Spring Hill College graduate was endorsed by Mobile Police Chief Paul Prine and former District Attorney Ashley Rich, as well as former District 6 Council Representative Bess Rich and the Alabama Police Benevolent Association. Callahan says throughout his campaign, he and his team knocked on over 3,000 doors in District 6. And tonight at his watch party, he congratulated the unofficial winner, Josh Woods, as well as his other opponents, Carla Dupriest and Lynn Hoach, for running good races.
I enjoyed it. I think my political career is over. So, I'll just be helping people with their races now. We like to have a lot of good volunteers. We had signs on just about every corner.
Does he have your support?
Absolutely, absolutely. Josh is a good guy, and absolutely, I'll support the City of Mobile.
Right now, Josh Woods is the winner of the District 6 election. However, there is one provisional ballot left over. It will be counted at the vote canvass next Tuesday, August 1st. From there, the spotlight will be on redistricting. The current district lines will have to be redrawn to guarantee that Josh Woods will be serving in the new boundaries of District 6. Kim?
Karis, thank you. Well, it is official. Mobile is the second largest city in Alabama. The annexation vote was certified today by Mobile County Probate Judge Don Davis. Last week, 3 West Mobile communities voted to be annexed into the city limits. Mayor Sandy Stimpson says the Mobile Fire Rescue Department began providing coverage to the new areas at 5 this evening. Other services will begin soon. We have an update tonight to a story we brought you last month. Governor Kay Ivey signed an older version of a drug bill that was changed in committee, one that allowed a manslaughter charge to be used in connection with a deadly dose of drugs like cocaine, meth, morphine, and heroin, but it does not address fentanyl. Lawmakers were set to correct the mistake during last week's special session, but they did not. Now, the law that does not include fentanyl will go into effect this September. A Florida murder suspect has been arrested here in Mobile after a traffic stop. David Sosa was traveling with a woman and a 3-year-old when the Mobile County Sheriff's Office Interstate Interdiction Unit, along with the U.S. Border Patrol, pulled him over. Sheriff deputies notified the Broward County Sheriff's Office after they discovered he was wanted for murder. Sosa will be extradited back to Broward County.
In the day planner for tomorrow, we find those obnoxious 90s returning. That will be similar all the way through the week. We'll jump from the lower 80s at 8 o'clock in the morning to the middle 90s by lunchtime. Late afternoon, there could actually be a shower, a thunderstorm. Most of us are not going to get wet. Not this evening will we get wet. You're enjoying the waxing crescent moon. Our Beau Rivage Tower camera shows a peaceful scene across Mobile, with the temperature at Mobile Regional at 80 degrees. The dew point is in the lower 70s. That's part of why today didn't feel as oppressive as many of our days last week felt, but day by day through the week, that's going to change. Later tonight, low temperatures, lower 70s if you're in Monroe County or Clark County or Washington County. Along the I-10 corridor, it'll be mid 70s, and then we warm up, and then we prepare for more heat and a few thunderstorms. I'll walk you through the forecast in just a few minutes.
Tonight, the man who discovered the Clotilda, the last slave ship brought to the United States, says it should be on display. Ben Raines fears the Alabama Historical Commission will leave the ship in the mud in Mobile River and it will eventually disappear. The Alabama Historical Commission investigated the integrity and stability of the ship, and the findings are currently being peer-reviewed. Archaeologists have warned digging it up could cause it to fall apart, but Raines says it can be done. He believes Alabama's history should be more visible.
I think they don't want the ship on display. They would rather keep the history hidden and just have a small museum in Africatown. You know, that museum is not big enough for this story, for this history. We can tell the full story of these people, the cultures they came from, all of these things. The story of the Clotilda is the most intact story of people who were enslaved in the 400-year history. And so the idea that we're going to limit it to that little museum we have is, to me, that's just not honoring the story.
The Alabama Historical Commission says it will be presenting a management plan for the ship to the Clotilda descendants, but did not say when that will happen. For the latest updates on this story and more, be sure to follow NBC 15 on Facebook, Twitter, Instagram, and at mynbc15.com. The Alabama Big Ten Mayors Association is holding an online photo contest. It is using work from local photographers to highlight the beauty and character of Alabama cities. More than 100 photos have been submitted across Alabama. Here's a look at some Mobile submissions, which are absolutely gorgeous. These are works from Terrence Smith, Rob Varner, Richard Bosco, Lindsey Ferguson, Michelle Rump, and Lori Scherer. They feature things like Mobile skyline, waterways, and old oak trees. A split-second decision, how a Florida state trooper was able to stop a wrong-way driver. Threatening impeachment, why Republicans say they are ramping up threats to impeach President Joe Biden.
Consumer confidence hits a 2-year high and U.S. supply chains dodge a bullet. I'm Atrell Nashar with how these developments could help stave off a recession.
Winner of the regional Edward R. Murrow Award for Best Newscast. This is NBC 15 News.
make 1025 with that vehicle is going down the entrance ramp eastbound to John Young.
Caught on camera, a Florida state trooper was able to stop a wrong-way driver by crashing into the side of her. The officer appears to be trying to block the driver, but instead causes her to crash into a tree. Troopers say the car was headed toward a busy intersection. Both the trooper and the driver suffered only minor injuries. President Joe Biden signed a proclamation today establishing a national monument dedicated to Emmett Till and his mother, Mamie Till Mobley. In 1955, Emmett Till was just 14 years old when he bought candy at a store in Money, Mississippi. A store clerk claimed Emmett whistled at her. A few nights later, the clerk's husband and another man drove to the house where Emmett was staying and pulled him from his bed. 3 days later, his mutilated body was pulled from a river. Decades later, that clerk admitted she lied. At a White House ceremony today, the president announced the establishment of national monuments honoring Emmett and his mother, which includes sites in Mississippi and Illinois.
When I was preparing these remarks, I quite frankly, and my colleagues will understand this, I found myself trying to temper my anger as I was writing it. I'm not joking. I can't fathom what it must have been like.
Today would have been Emmett's 82nd birthday. Hunter Biden is set to plead guilty tomorrow to 2 misdemeanor tax charges and enter a diversion program to drop a felony gun charge. Some are instead asking the judge to reject the plea deal, and Republicans are increasing calls to impeach the president over allegations of being involved in his son's business deals. National correspondent Kayla Gaskins reports from Washington.
You've got IRS whistleblowers.
House Speaker Kevin McCarthy elevating threats of impeaching President Biden.
When more of this continues to unravel, it rises to the level of impeachment inquiry.
These comments are the most direct yet from the Speaker regarding impeachment. According to McCarthy, the House dug up enough evidence through their investigations into allegations the Bidens were selling political influence to foreigners to warrant a deeper probe into the president's role.
What an impeachment inquiry does, it gives us the apex of the power of Congress for Republicans and Democrats to gather the information that they need.
Republicans have obtained financial records showing the president's son, Hunter Biden, and brother James Biden received millions from China and Romania. Documents show cuts set aside for someone called the big guy. Multiple sources allege the big guy is Joe Biden. The White House standing by the president's statement he had nothing to do with these deals.
The president was never in business with his son. I just don't have anything else to add.
Former Biden family business associate, however, saying the president had direct involvement.
Hunter and Jim Biden were paranoid about keeping Joe Biden's involvement secret.
What are the big differences that an impeachment inquiry can achieve that, say, the House Oversight's investigation might not be able to?
When that shifts to associating the word impeachment with the process, the powers don't necessarily change. And they might give the committee additional powers, but not necessarily. It sets the House and the Senate on a particular path that we hope we never have to go through as a country.
Another Biden business raising questions, Hunter Biden's artwork. He sold at least $1.3 million worth. A national art critic telling Politico it is absolutely 100% certain that what is being sold is the Biden name. One of the buyers, LA-based investor Elizabeth Naftali, receiving a presidential appointment from Joe Biden 8 months later. In Washington, I'm Kayla Gaskins.
NBC 15 weather with Chief Meteorologist Alan Seals, honored by the Alabama Broadcasters Association for Best Weather Anchor.
Let's start with the beach forecast. It's looking pretty calm, smooth surf. The water temperature, notice, about 83 degrees. A lot of times you go to the beach, you say, wow, it's really warm. That's about average this time of the year. And when you look at these numbers for the Gulf of Mexico, which is more than 500,000 square miles, it's actually above average. So our beaches don't tell the whole story about the Gulf. And you may have heard the beaches or the bays just south of Miami, close to the Keys, record heat, as in water temperatures in the upper 90s, unofficial record so far. Well, all of that heat is a big concern because if we get a tropical system in the Gulf, it could help it strengthen. A typical water profile of the Gulf of Mexico in the summer is it's warm within, say, the first several feet, several yards. You get down 20, 30 feet and the water is cold. But this season, there hasn't been a lot of mixing of the water. We've had high pressure giving us a heat wave. So there's a heat wave over the Gulf of Mexico where it is hot within the first few feet and warm once you get down beneath it. So that'll be a concern if we see anything developing in the Gulf. Right now, I don't see that. Pensacola Beach, 84 degrees with a dew point of 70, so the heat index is 88. That's reasonable compared to what we dealt with all of last week. In the tropics, there are several tropical disturbances, not unusual this time of the year. They are all moving to the west, also not unusual. And right now, it doesn't look like any one of those is going to develop any further, which is the way we like things. Talk about tomorrow's highs, mid-90s, hotter than average, but not the extreme heat we dealt with last week. Look at the heat index readings, though. Most of us will be below 100 in terms of how it feels, and that's simply because the air is not as humid as it was. But day by day, going through the week, it will become more humid. Early morning forecasts, sunshine, midday, little teeny tiny clouds, late afternoon, an isolated thunderstorm. We'll repeat that for a couple of days on your 7-day tracker. With temperatures the same. Into the weekend, though, that's when humidity will move up, and that's why we'll see scattered showers and thunderstorms a little more likely.
All right, Alan, be sure and stay weather aware this week by downloading our free NBC 15 weather app. Just search WPMI Weather in the App Store or Google Play. Nearly 1 in 2 families struggle with diaper need, and we can all help out. NBC 15 is proud to partner with the National Diaper Bank Network and our partners at Sinclair for Sinclair Care's Summer Diaper Drive. Their awareness and fundraising campaign provides support to families in need of diapers for their children. Scan the QR code on your screen or go to sinclaircares.com to find out how you can help. Sinclair is donating $25,000 to the Summer Diaper Drive. While changing the ecosystem, coral reefs are dying around Florida. What scientists say is to blame.
You can help make our community better. Let us know if you see corruption or injustice and we'll investigate it. Call this hotline now.
Several Florida coral species are on the brink of sudden extinction due to this summer's record temperatures. Some reefs around the Keys are dead already, and rescuers are trying to save others. Coral is extremely sensitive to temperature change, and some areas of water around the Keys have been topping 90 degrees. The Marine Corps says 3 men found dead inside a car in North Carolina were from the nearby Camp Lejeune. Deputies found the vehicle at a gas station Sunday morning. Inside were Tanner Kaltenberg, Merrick's Dockery, and Ivan Garcia. They were all Lance Corporals. We are still waiting for autopsy results, but investigators say they do not suspect foul play. 6 of the 10 suspects in a 2016 terror attack in Belgium have been found guilty. In March of that year, suicide bombings in Brussels killed 32 people and injured more than 300 others. ISIS claimed responsibility for the attacks. Last year, Belgium began its largest trial ever to determine if 10 suspects played any role in the attacks. Today, 6 of them were found guilty of terrorist murder. A major strike has been averted, but that doesn't mean smooth sailing for the economy. We're going to explain why coming up. UPS workers will not go on strike after the company reached a tentative agreement with labor union leaders that includes higher pay and safer working conditions. That's big news for the economy, especially with more interest rate hikes possibly on the horizon. National correspondent Ultra Elnishar explains.
The U.S. economy dodging disaster Tuesday when UPS and the Teamsters Union, representing more than 340,000 of its workers, reached a deal that will keep trucks on the road and cargo planes in the air. A strike would have upended supply chains, threatening to undo progress that's been made on inflation and consumer confidence. The latter just reached a 2-year high, according to new data from the Conference Board.
I think consumers are definitely happier, not only now, but they're also thinking about the future.
The group's chief economist, Dana Peterson, says a lot of that has to do with the labor market.
Most people are working. People have experienced some kind of increase in their wages. Some people have quit and found better jobs. And certainly we've seen people being supported by leftover excess savings.
What's a boost for workers is acting as a headwind for the Federal Reserve. Tight labor market conditions helping to keep inflation high. On Tuesday, members kicked off their two-day meeting that's expected to result in another quarter-point interest rate hike, which could mean the highest federal funds rate since 2001. What's more difficult to predict is whether Fed economists will update their predictions about there being the potential for a mild recession beginning later this year. But it's the National Bureau of Economic Research that's tasked with officially declaring a recession. And its chair, John Lipsky, says he's confident inflation will continue to moderate.
There are good reasons to think that this economy could avoid a recession, but there are also good reasons to think that growth is going to be slow.
That slowed growth and slowed demand are intentional effects of the Fed's interest rate hikes. An analysis by Wallet Hub finds an additional quarter-point increase this week would cost credit card holders about $1.7 billion over the next 12 months. In Washington, I'm Atrel Nashar.
Well, making a difference. How long a swim instructor in Oregon has been on the job and why she says she does not plan to stop. A 102-year-old Oregon woman is making a difference in her community. She has been teaching swimming lessons for young children for more than half a century now. Peggy Konzak has been helping babies and toddlers get accustomed to the water since 1968. She says it's a source of joy in her life, that it's more like playing than working. Her instruction has been especially helpful to Jennifer Reed, whose daughter Lila is deaf.
Peggy's really great because she integrates a lot of gestures and simple signs. And especially the one-on-one, getting one-on-one support with her, just the three of us learning how to swim has been, made all the difference.
Sometimes I say, I think it's time to retire. And then somebody will say, no, Peggy, keep going, keep going. So here I am.
Yes, the key to long life. Konzak is now 102 years old and says she has no plans to stop anytime soon. That's awesome. Well, we're going to have another look at your.
Well, the Gulf of Mexico is quiet. Yes, it is hot. It is summer. We don't get much rain in the next several days. And over the weekend, we'll get scattered showers and thunderstorms.
All right, Alan, thanks so much. And thank you for joining us for NBC 15 News at 10. We'll see you back here tomorrow. Have a great night, everyone.